Hi, this is an update video on my personal journey because I haven't shared anything in a while. I want people to know what I'm doing. However, you may not relate to what I'm talking about at all because I'm way along this path and it's a little hard for someone to understand necessarily at the beginning, but it shows where we can go with this inner work, with the shadow work that a lot of us are undertaking these days. So just in case you haven't heard my story, I started out working with thoughts and emotions and memories. And as I did that, my self-awareness deepened as my subconscious mind opened up. So I became aware of my emotions. I had been very shut down before. So I became aware of my emotions. Then I became aware of the physical sensations underneath the emotions. Then I became aware inside the physical body itself, which I know is really hard to even comprehend, but it's definitely something that happened. So at this point, I'm working inside the physical body. If you've been following me, you'll know that I've been working inside my left cheek for a long time, for years now. And when I first started, it was like this fiery, hot ball of tension and pain inside my left cheek that I hadn't been aware of for the first 50 years of my life until I was able to put my awareness inside my body. Then I became aware of this incredible pain and tension inside of here. Now I've been working on this slowly over and over again, many times, probably many times each day. I mean, I know that to be the case. It's just hard to tell someone who's starting out on this journey that there's so much to this work. But it's dissipated so much at this point that I go out of my way to find that pain still. So there's kind of two ways that I go about that. First of all, I can still put my awareness inside and I can still notice some tension and pain in there. And when I do that, I find it with my awareness. I use my fingers, that it's like an extra, I don't know how to put it in words. My fingers magnify my attention on somewhere inside. So I use my fingers just out here. When I do that, it intensifies my focus inside. So I will focus on the pain, hold my breath, feel it. Just feel that pain and tension just for seconds. It doesn't take very long. Now it took longer to begin with because my power of focus was not as intense. So I focus on that tension until I feel and I hear something release, and it feels and it sounds like old crackles, like old fabric ripping, like glass breaking, different kind of sounds for different types of areas that I'm working on. So that's one way I do it. But the other way is to go out of my way to find that pain. And these days I've been working so much in my jaw bones and in this cheek. So I will open my mouth because there's more pain and tension when I open my mouth. So I will open it kind of like this. And when I'm doing that, I can feel tension inside of my cheeks, right inside of here. And I will focus on it. I will hold it like that. I will hold my breath. I will hold myself like a statue until I feel a release, which again is like a crackling sound. But when I'm doing that, I will also feel tension these days in my neck. It's in the axis and the atlas bones, right in the back of my mouth, the back of my neck. It's hard to pinpoint with my hands, but I know it's inside of me. So I'm releasing the tension in those bones inside of me. So as I do that, my neck will bend and twist in ways that it has not done before. And I can move my lower jaw in all sorts of different orientations that I haven't been able to before. Now, I wish I had done a video years and years ago to show how it used to be, but obviously I didn't know things were going to change, so I didn't know to do that. I did a few weeks ago take a photo of my mouth as wide as it could possibly go, because that is probably changing still, because I work on this. Even when I yawn, I will crack my neck, allow the tension to release. So let me just show you now. Obviously, some of you can probably already move your jaw in all sorts of different orientations, especially if you're young. Um, I can only compare to how I used to be, and even then, I'm not totally aware of how it used to be, but I do remember it. My jaw looked really uncomfortable when I would see myself talk on a video. So let me just try this out for you here. So pretty horrific, I know. But I can move my jaw in all sorts of different directions. And when I'm holding it open, I'm just holding it in a place where there is tension. And I will sometimes move it around over and over again where the tension is. And that's when I kind of hear the crackling and releasing. I know I'm pushing up against adhesions, maybe in the connective tissue, whatever it is, I'm pushing up against it for long enough that it releases. So let me do it again in my cheek area, and maybe you can see, come a little closer here, maybe you'll be able to see where I'm moving the tissue on the inside there. Now, you probably couldn't hear it, but I felt and heard some releases in the back of my neck at that point. So that's that's what I'm doing, and I'm doing it many, many, many times each day, and it's breaking down. A lot of it is breaking down in here. This is where it sounds like glass that's breaking, and this is compensation. So I don't know whether the tension was here in my left cheek first, and I compensated by tightening, or my body compensated by tightening my right neck, or whether my right neck was tight and it caused this pain in my left cheek. But it really shows me how much we compensate, and we have no idea we're doing it, but our body compensates for us and it gets stuck there. So we're kind of out of balance, but we're in equilibrium. We're kind of balanced in an out of balanced way. So to release that, we need to release one of those places first, which allows the other one to release. And if we keep doing it over and over again, we actually become to a clearer balance. Symmetry, I think, is the ideal, that we get to a perfectly symmetrical place. Now, I started way out of symmetry, possibly way more than most people because of my scoliosis and everything that happened with me. But I can see that I'm becoming more physically balanced as I do this. I just wish it would go faster, but I can't do anything about that. It goes as fast as I can possibly do it. Now, this part of my right neck used to be really, really hard all the time. The tension was so hard that I couldn't push into it. It was just really tense. So that's nice. That's softened now. I can put my fingers into it and it will give. So what I do is I find that tension. So I'm also, work on this tension here or the pain here in my left cheek. But I will also, as I'm working on that, this will tense up again, where it goes really hard like that. And that at that point there is also where I'm feeling tension here. So I will focus on that. I normally focus on the place with the pain, which is my left cheek. And as that releases, it's also releasing something here in my right neck. So over time of doing that, it loosens up my right neck, which allows my head to move in different orientations, to see from different perspectives, both physically and mentally. And that's going to loosen up more and more over time, I hope. And I will be able to bend my neck to the right, because right now it doesn't fully bend to the right still. So there's more work to do, I know that. So what I realized is the pain is where the connective tissue is stuck. There's no movement there. It can't move in all different directions. And giving it focused attention that allows it to release and relax starts it moving again. Now, the pain will be fully gone once it's able to move in all different directions. Right now, a lot of what's in my left cheek will move in different directions, and I can feel it move. I can again, it just sounds so weird. I can feel it move. I can make it move with my attention and my fingers. But the places where it won't move yet, there's still pain there. So that's the same with my right neck, the right side of my neck. What I do is work with what's calling my attention, and that's usually the pain. So I will put my focus on the pain in my right cheek rather than in my left cheek, rather than in my right neck, because it's calling my attention. My body is calling my attention to my left cheek, so that's where I focus. It also releases in the right of my neck, so I don't have to focus there. If I feel pain in my right neck rather than my left cheek, I will focus on that tension, that pain in my right neck, and it will also release there. Probably also releases in my left cheek at that point, because it's just so connected. And because I'm getting deeper inside now, I can feel that tension also in the whole of my jaw, and in those bones in the back of my neck, and the muscles down the back of my neck. So a lot of that is releasing as well as I do this work. Sometimes it's one thing that releases, sometimes it's another thing that releases. I just go with the flow. I go with what I'm called to put my attention on. At some point on this journey, it actually became like a flow. I didn't have to work on a particular memory anymore. I was kind of led, okay, what's the next thing? It's like the subconscious mind is opening up, it's bubbling up inside, and all I have to do is follow it. So I notice where the tension is, I notice where the pain is, I notice what the emotion is or what the thought is, and I just feel that. And I'm kind of led down that path. So it kind of becomes easier in that respect. So that's where I am these days. Hopefully some of you will follow me on this path, because it makes a huge difference in your life, and it's actually really fun to do. It might sound like it's a little crazy, but releasing old tension it just feels good. So I don't see any reason not to do it. Okay, that's my update for now. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.